Bet we live, baby. What's good, y'all? Yeah, so I want to get on here and talk about the psychology of black and white thinking, right? I'm just about to rant for a bit. I don't know how that long it's gonna take, but we in here. So my title is Psychology of Black and White Thinking, right? So before you even take in any information from anybody or anything, you need to put that information into a question format, right? So because I've titled this Psychology of Black and White Thinking, we need to ask ourselves first, what is black and white thinking, right? We need to give ourselves a what. Because when you ask questions, then your mind naturally looks for the answers to those questions, right? So when you ask what, then you can proceed along and you can, look for the answers as I talk and rant, because I may be going on and off about stuff. But also we need to ask ourselves why, right? Why does he even want to talk about psychology of black and white thinking? Why should I even listen to this dude ranting about the psychology of black and white thinking, right? Because our why is our motives, right? Our why is our reason. Our why is our purpose. And without that, you won't be motivated to even listen, to even do anything, right? So my motives for even talking about this is because when we think in terms of black and white, we think in terms of all or nothing, right? We think something is either all good or all bad. That's why it's called black or white thinking. It's because we naturally think of black as bad and white as good, right? But we fail to realize that God made everything with polar opposites, right? Everything has its polar opposites. Everything has its good to it. Everything has its bad to it. And that's what keeps a balance, right? That's what keeps things in balance, because God is balanced. But when we think in terms of black and white, we think something is all good or all bad, and therefore we cannot see the bad in the good or the good in the bad. My bad, I'm back. These mosquitoes tearing me up. And so when we think of something as all good, right, then we become ignorant, we become blind to the bad in it. When we think of something as all bad, then we become blind or ignorant to the good in it, right? And through our ignorance, it makes it so that we cannot defend ourselves against the bad in things when we think of something as all good. And it makes it so that we cannot use things for good to our benefit when we think of them as all bad, right? Because we choose to ignore it, which makes us ignorant to it, right? And the things that we are ignorant to, that others are not ignorant to, because we can't set up a defense against the bad in things, it makes us more vulnerable to those who don't think in terms of black and white, to those who can look at, the details of things and can learn things and use them for their personal purpose. So my purpose in even talking about the psychology of all black or all white, well, psychology of black and white thinking, of all good or all bad thinking, is to keep us from being ignorant to things, so that we can defend ourselves against the bad, and so that we can use the good for our benefit, right? So what is black and white thinking? Like I said, black and white thinking is when you think something is all good or all bad. And it comes from us thinking that black is all bad and white is all good, right? And so when we think like that, we navigate the world like that. And when something makes us upset, we automatically think it's all bad or all good. But this is done through associations, right? Associations are relationships. Associations, so when we associate things with each other, we relate those things to each other. Like we relate black to bad, and we relate white to good. And that's really how we define the world. We define our world through relationships, how we relate to those things. What do we use these things for? But we have to understand that everything is connected. Everything is literally related in some way, shape, or form. And when we only look at one type of relationship, we only look at one type of way of relating, then we ignore the other types of ways of relating, right? So for instance, a woman could be a mother, also could be a sister, also could be a daughter, also could be a wife, also could be a niece, also could be an aunt, also could be an entrepreneur. You know what I'm saying? There are many things that we relate to. There are many things, so there are many things that we associate with. So there are many things that can what? Define us. We define things based on what we relate them to, based on what we associate those things with. And when we associate things in a limited way, when we say, oh, all that is this, then we miss out on the other things that it is. We miss out on the other relationships, and we become ignorant. So black, let's talk about black and white, right? We look at black as bad. Is there truth to that? There is truth to that. Black can be bad, right? But black, let's look at the definition of black, and we're going to get back to how black is bad and how black is good, right? Black is defined as the absence of light or the complete absorption of light. Sorry, my feet slipping. I got mosquitoes biting my legs. It's a lot going on. So black is the absence of light, or black is the complete absorption of light, right? Right. But if something is absorbing light, then it's not absent of it. I just wanted to say that for black. Black is also known as what? The darkest color. Black is, if you mix all the colors together, you get black, right? So therefore, from that understanding, to me, black is unity. Black is everything. If you put everything together, you're going to get black. So because black is everything, I look at black as God, right? The same way that my body has different microbiomes, different cells within it, and different, microorganisms living within it, is the same way that I am a microorganism living within the body of God, right? And God everything put together equates God to me anyways, and equates black, right? So black to me is the entirety of everything. Black to me is the totality of everything, because like I said, if you mix all the colors together, you're going to get black. If you look into the sky at night, it's going to what? Look black. Does that mean there's nothing there? No. That just means everything is blended together, right? So, black is unity. Black is everything. Black is the absorption of light, right? It takes light in. But light also comes from darkness. As you see in Genesis, it tells you that light comes from what? Darkness. God created light out of what? The darkness. So black is everything. But black is also defined as what? The opposite of white. Because we define things, we associate things based on their relationship to other things, right? So, if black is the absorption of light, if black is, the totality of everything, then what is white? Because there's really no clear definition of white. Like I said, anytime we define things based on how they relate to other things. Where my ears at? Where my ears? There go an ear. There go an ear. Okay, ears. My bad, y'all. I'm weird. So, if black is the complete absorption of light, right? And black is the entirety of everything, and black is also the opposite of white, then what is white? And why is black considered bad? Hold on, first, before we get into white, why is black considered bad? Because black is the entirety of everything. That is the good, the bad, the up, the down, the happy, the sad, the all around. That is everything. It is everything put together, right? So black, yes, has a lot of bad in it. But guess what? Black also has the good in it. See? See? Good also comes from black. But when we think in terms of something being all bad or all good, we ignore the fact that good things come from blackness too. And therefore you become ignorant to the fact that, oh shit, I can use black for good. And we're going to get back to why we always see the bad in black. But, so black is the complete absorption of light. Black is the entirety of everything. If you mix all the colors together, you're going to get black. And black is also known as the opposite of white, right? So if it's the opposite of white, then how does white relate to light? Because this is how we define things, based on how we relate them, based on what we relate them to, based on what we associate them with, right? So how does light, we define black based on what? Its relationship to light, based on its relationship to color. We say it's the complete absorption of light. So if black is the opposite of white and the complete absorption of light, then that means what? What is white? White is what? It reflects light. It doesn't absorb light, it reflects it. Light bounces off of white. And if black is the entirety and totality of everything, and white is its opposite, almost bit my damn lip. If black is the totality, the entirety of everything, and white is the opposite of black, then what does that make white? The absence of, right? And this is why white is looked at as good, right? This is why white is looked at as good, because white is looked at as purity, right? As purified. But it can also be bad, right? Because it is the absence of. It can also, what? Be associated with lack. It can also be associated with what? The absence of God, right? If black is the totality of God, is white, does that mean that God is not white? No, because black is the totality of everything. That means black also includes what? White. Right? Even though it's its opposite, it still includes everything, right? So, light is absorbed by darkness, by black, but light reflects off of white. Black is the entirety of everything. White is the absence of. And that's why it's known as purity, right? Because it is an absence of blemishes. But it's the absence of every fucking thing. Everything. It's the absence of the bad, yeah. But it's also the absence of the good. And what does it do? It reflects light. It reflects it. It does not absorb it. Therefore, it is a reflector, right? So, we have to understand these things, that everything has its two sides to it. Nothing is all good or all bad, and when you think in those terms, then you will miss out on these things, right? Now let's get into darkness and light. Darkness and light. Because we look at darkness and light also in terms of what? Black and white thinking, in terms of all good or all bad, in terms of absolute thinking, right? So darkness, why do we fear darkness? Why? Because we associate darkness with unconscious. We associate darkness with being unaware, right? And through our unawareness, we become what? Ignorant. We can't see these things. And therefore, the things that we can't see, we cannot protect ourselves against. And the things that we cannot see, we cannot use for our benefit. And so this is why we fear the darkness, right? So that's the bad side of darkness. What is the good side of darkness? Because we understand when we don't think in terms of all bad or all good, that everything has its polar opposites. Everything has its good and its bad. Because everything is balanced. That's what God is, balanced, right? So darkness, the bad side of darkness, it equates what? Being unaware, being unconscious, being ignorant to things, right? Which makes us vulnerable to a lot of things. Darkness is equated to vulnerability, right? And vulnerability isn't always bad, because in order to reshape and remold yourself, you must be vulnerable. But it can be bad in a sense where if somebody was to, you know, reshape and remold you for bad, that's not a good thing, you know? But the good side of darkness, what is the good side of darkness? Are there any good sides of darkness? Ooh, that should look nice in the background. Ooh, that's fire, yo. This is a fire picture. I need to screenshot this jump. But darkness, right? We think it's bad because of unawareness. But what are the good sides to darkness, bro? Good side of darkness. How were you born? You were born in the darkness of your mother's womb. You were born in the darkness. When you plant a seed, that seed is what? placed in darkness. Okay? When your ass ready to go to sleep, are you going to go to sleep with the lights on? Or are you going to go to sleep in what? When it's dark. When you close your eyes, it is dark. See, nothing God made is all good or all bad, y'all. What are you using it for? What is it producing? What things produce determines if they good or bad. My bad, these mosquitoes tearing me up. Move! Almost fell. What something is producing determines if it's good or bad, right? So darkness is in itself is not bad. It's not good either, right? But what does it produce? See, you need to be in darkness to go to sleep. You need to be in darkness to be born, to be created within the darkness of your mother's womb. A seed is planted in the darkness, right? And what is light? Because guess what? Light has its good to it also. Light also has its bad to it, right? It depends on what it's producing. A tree is known by the what? The fruit it produces. So good and bad should be determined what? Not based on even intentions, but based on production. What does it produce? What does it create, right? So light is associated with what? Being aware. Light is associated with being able to see. Light is associated with energy, with heat, right? Light is associated with life. Darkness can be associated with life too, right? Because we are born within the womb, right? Light is associated with life. Light is associated with being aware, with being able to see, with focus, with energy. But guess what? Guess what, all love and light people? Light can also be a bad thing. Have you ever heard of Lucifer, the light bearer? See, but because we think in terms of black and white, we think something is all good or all bad. We don't even notice that light can be bad. Even when you call the devil Lucifer, which means light bearer, we still don't see how light can be bad. Now, how can light be bad? Let's get into that, right? So, if the entirety of everything is black, right, and you shine a light on it, what are you doing? You are becoming aware of something, right? You are becoming aware of a specific part within the darkness, right? That is our awareness. You are a light, right? You are a light within the entirety of everything. Within the black, you are a light. You are an awareness. But that light can also mean what? Division. If black equals unity and you shine a light on something, within that blackness, you are creating a divide, right? Now, division is not all good or all bad, just like nothing is all good or all bad. Things are based on what? What they produce. What do they create? So light can be bad because it can be what? Division. It's like we call Lucifer the light bearer. Why? Because he is the divider. Divide and conquer. You know what I'm saying? A house divided against itself cannot stand. And what is that? And also, why we call Lucifer or the devil bad? Deception. Huh? Because he deceives us. And when you understand light, you understand how we are deceived. Because the things that we see are not based on what's in front of you. The things that you see are based on your mind and how you think and how you interpret the world. The things that you see are based on how you relate things to each other. Right? Your light is your awareness. But if your awareness is small, then your light will be small. If your understanding of things is tiny, then your light will be tiny. And this is how Lucifer tricks us, because we don't understand that this is only a stick. This is on where is it? Right here. This is only a tree because I associate it as a tree. I relate to it as a tree, right? That's the only reason it's a tree. It's because I have defined it as a tree, because I have made an agreement that when I see this, it is a tree, right? But now we gotta get into perception. How we perceive things. How you see things is based on how you think, not based on what you see, right? What you see is just a symbol. You give a definition to it based on how you relate to that thing. So, I can see something the same, I can see a completely similar event as somebody else, right? But we can see this two different things. Or you could like see somebody yelling, right? And you could think, oh, they about to fight. Or somebody else could see somebody yelling and just think, you know, they're just excited, right? That's based on how you think. And this is how light deceives us, because it bounces off of certain things and we receive it within our eyes, and then our mind defines what we see. But is that truly what you see? Is that truly what you are seeing? See? So light can be good because light is an awareness, right? It creates an awareness. Light is an energy. Light is focus. Light is attention, right? But light can also be bad because light is also what? A divider. Light also can be associated with division. Light can also be associated with deception. See? But when we don't understand that, then we become what? Vulnerable to the devil. We become vulnerable to deception. We become vulnerable to division. Yo, get off of me, bro. I'm really trying to be nice to these mosquitoes, like, but it's funny how God tests you, right? I want to talk about something being all good or all bad, so God like, yeah, these mosquitoes tear his ass up, mosquitoes. Let's see if he think y'all all bad or all good. I don't think y'all all bad or all good. But I do know, if y'all motherfuckers keep biting me, you're going to be all dead. I know that much. I know that much. So y'all best bet is to go on about your business. Find somebody else to play with. But yeah, so we need to focus on these things, because you are a light within the world. You are a light within the darkness. You are awareness within the darkness. But you are also the darkness. You are also the black. Because black is the entirety of everything. And when you shine your light within that darkness, when you focus your light on something for a long time, then it reflects back to you, yourself. Right? A lot of us cannot see beneath the surface. A lot of us lack in-depth thinking, in-depth understanding. And a part of that is because we have looked at black as bad. We have looked at darkness as bad. So when you look at darkness as bad, then you are going to look at going beneath the surface as bad. Because what's beneath the surface? Darkness, unknown. We fear the unknown when we fear blackness, when we fear darkness. And it makes us not explore it. It makes us not shine our light on it and not become aware of it. But when you can only think surface level, then what are you doing? You are shining your light. You are projecting. This is what's called projection in psychology, where people tend to like throw their thoughts onto other people, right? So how you think, when you look at me, because you think a certain way, you're going to automatically assume I'm thinking that way, right? And this is how we are deceived by light, through projecting. We project. And so you need to be able to see beneath the surface. You need to be able to shine your light on things under the surface. And when you can do that, then you can add more knowledge to your mind. And you can understand the different relationships amongst things. And we will never know everything, right? Everything together is what? Black. You're never going to know everything. And this is why it is important for us to have relationships with people, with other people. This is why God, you know, your first lesson on this earth is what? You need other people. You cannot survive by yourself as a child. You cannot survive by yourself as an adult. Now, a lot of us go through traumatic relationships and we think that the fix to those relationships is isolation, which, you know, isolation isn't always bad, right? But everything requires balance. And the cure to traumatic relationships is not isolation. No, isolation is good because what? You can get back to yourself and see who you are, who you want to be. But the real cure to traumatic relationships is healthy relationships. You know? You want to cure a trauma bond, get into a healthy relationship. Form healthy relationships with people. And you have to form healthy relationships by understanding who you are. And sometimes you need to go into isolation. You need to go into the darkness to understand who you are. You need to go within depth. Oh, okay, I'm tweaking. Thought something was on me. That's a light. See? You see how the light be deceiving me? You see? That's crazy, bro. Shout out to God. I really thought that was a bug, but it was really what? My interpretation of the light that was on my shoulder. See? And this is how we are deceived, right? Well, what was I saying? Oh yeah, surface level thinking versus in-depth thinking. Surface level thinking is projecting, right? You are a light, so you naturally project, right? I'm not saying projection is bad. That's how we navigate the world. We navigate the world by what? Shining our attention on something, shining our light on something, and then that light bouncing back and showing us the insides of our brain and showing us our definition of it. But that's why it's so important to create bigger definitions of things, to associate things with more than just one thing. Because we are all more than one thing. Nothing is one thing. And when you think of something in absolutes, you think that that thing is one thing. And you become ignorant to it. See? And this affects our relationships too. Because once you paint this picture of somebody as one thing, when you find out that they are multiple things, then you mad at them. You know what I'm saying? Because you created an image, you deceived yourself about this person instead of getting an in-depth understanding, instead of looking into the darkness of this person, which isn't the bad things, it's just the things that you're not aware of. And when we can break out of this light versus dark, white versus black way of thinking, and understand that, you know, everything has its opposites, everything works together within, everything relates to each other. Black is one, black is unity, black is everything put together, then we understand that, damn, that means everything is related. Right? How do I relate to these rocks right now? I'm standing on it. How do I relate to this phone? I'm using it to record a video. We relate to everything in certain ways. But my relationship to this phone and recording on this phone is not all that I do with the phone. I call people on it. I text on it. You know what I'm saying? I go online with it. But if I only relate it to what? Texting, then I will miss out on the fact that, oh shit, I can use this to call people. I can use this to put in an application. I can use this to get on YouTube and learn some knowledge. Right? Right. Yeah, so I just want us to, I just wanted to plant that seed in your head so that you can understand how to plant your seeds, right? You have to plant your seeds in what? The darkness. And then you what? Shine a light on it. See, we think darkness and light are beefing because we have been trained to be ignorant. We have been trained to divide, right? Because of that Lucifer, that light bearer, right? That bad side of light that causes division. So we think that what? We think that darkness and light are beefing with each other when they really working together. You plant a seed into the You plant a seed into the ground, right? You plant it in darkness, but you still need light to shine on it. You plant your seeds in darkness, but then you shine a light on it, right? But you also what? Have to add water to it, earth. You have, you know what I'm saying? So things are not just one thing. Things are many things. We're made of many things. And so we need to stop limiting our thinking. You are limiting, when you limit your thinking, you limit your understanding of God. How can you know God when you only relate God to one thing? How can you know a person when you only relate that person to one thing? God is everything. So you mean to tell me that you can only look at one aspect of God and tell me you know everything there is to know about God? No, you are in the darkness. You are in ignorance. You are in the bad side of darkness. The ignorance. The not knowing. But again, everything isn't good or bad. Everything isn't bad or good. Some shit I don't want to know. Some things you don't want to know. Like your dad tore your mama ass up and busted all in her, and it created you. See, that's not some shit you want to know. That's not some shit you want to, you want in the light. You want that shit in the, I don't want to know that shit. I don't want to hear about that. Right? So, sometimes being ignorant to things is okay. You're not going to know everything. Black is the entirety of everything. So what? If you know everything, your motherfucking mind going to explode. Because you can't fit it within your limited thinking. But just because your thinking is limited does not mean you need to limit your thinking. Just because your understanding is limited does not mean you need to limit your understanding. Push that bitch to the edge. Push your understanding to the edge. Push your knowing of things to the edge. So that you can navigate the world better. So that you are not limiting yourself and limiting your God and limiting the things around you, so that you can protect yourself against the bad in things, and so that you can use the good in things for your benefit. And so I hope everybody was able to get something out of me ranting about black and white thinking, all or nothing thinking, and that we can, expand our thinking, expand our associations, expand our relationships, expand how we relate things to each other, expand how we define ourselves. See? When you think something all good or all bad, you will look at yourself as all good or all bad. And when you look at yourself as all good or all bad, you will ignore the good in yourself, or you will ignore the bad in you. You ignore the good in everything, and you ignore the bad in certain things. Making yourself what? Vulnerable. Making yourself what? Ignorant. Making yourself what? Limited. And we need to break out of these limitations, y'all. For real. So, love y'all. Hope you got something out of it. Hope you can break out of just surface level thinking and get beneath the surface. Hope you can understand that shit, we naturally go through the world projecting. Right? And that light shines off of, when you focus on the blackness, you separate it, right? You separate it until there's absence of, right? What is white? White is the absence of. What does white do? White reflects light, right? So when you focus on something, you divide the darkness from it, and then you get white. And that white is going to reflect that light back to you, and you're going to see yourself. And you're going to think, you're going to be deceived into thinking you're seeing something else. And that's why it's important for us to always be learning, because it gives you more options. When you see things, you can say, okay, that could be this or that could be that. But when you don't, your shit is limited, and you're really just judging yourself. This is all I know, so that's all it could be. No, nigga, you just stupid. Maybe you're just limited. Maybe your thinking is just limited. Have you thought about that? Maybe you just boxed in. Get out of your box. Get out of your limitations. Get out of your black and white thinking. Nothing is all good. Nothing is all bad. Everything has its good and its bad, and that's what keeps it balanced, including you. So, prepare for the worst. Expect the best. Love y'all, man. Appreciate it. Have a good one, family.